In this video, I'll try to walk you through the process of how I plan and execute a low turn count run, and also try to explain my knowledge of seeds in this game, as well as a full run of the scenario at the end. This is on the HD mod, and I also have edited combat animations, CR anim, to make combat a bit faster. So let's start at the beginning. For this run, I'm gonna play the Mandate of Heaven, which is an extra large scenario. I'm usually drawn to scenarios with alternative win conditions, conquering a specific town in this case, so this is right up my alley. First part of the process is that I note that I can't choose my faction or color here. I can only play as red and castle, and all the other colors are also faction locked, but I can choose scenario bonus. Second thing I do is literally just look at the map and start making some plans in my head. I begin the scenario and, in recent-ish cases, in order to save time, I've started to use the very handy in-game cheats to scout. Just by plotting in the good old NWC the one, I get full view of everything. Then I start working backwards. I find the win condition, which is the Hive, a tan town, found in the northwest corner, and just follow the road back towards my starting town. On the way, there are quite a few things of immediate note. A Forsaken Palace close to the road near the tan area, which could make the final fight easier. The road is blocked by some Hydras, which means I would definitely need a decent army to get past these multi-headed lands. Pink is in the area as well, which could make optimizing movement points a bit tricky, as I can't leave my main hero with just a fast creature, or it would definitely be killed. A castle village close to the main road. A hill fort right next to the road, meaning I can upgrade my army for a nice power boost. A refugee camp a bit off the road, which could give a handy boost as well. Lots of chests for either gold or XP. And I note that except for the Hydras, there are only ranged creature fights near the starting town. There's also a second castle town, a black market for possible artifacts, a second hill fort near the main road, and a couple of chests in day 1 proximity, as well as a few more chests in day 2 or day 3 proximity. This gives me many options. Usually I would consider whether Dimension Door is worth going for, but as I'm forced to play Castle, and the first level 5 mage skill option is the pink dungeon town, which is very close to the end goal, this is probably not worth considering, unless there's some random relic artifact hidden somewhere. So into the editor I go to search for just that, plus look for possible hidden things I can't find by just looking at the scenario map. First thing I do in the editor is just Ctrl F, Random Relic, Tome of Air, Spellbinder set in order to try to find an easy way to get Dimension Door, but to no avail. Then I again just work my way backwards, looking for events or check marks along the road, finding one on the Titans slightly south of the main road. They always join. Okay, this is important stuff. Random quantity, but any number should be enough as long as I get to tan early enough. Other checkmarks are on the castle towns, indicating buildings are pre-built, which means I can get army reinforcements. There's also one on the Magi guarding the second castle town, but only to fix their number to 6. And on the starting town, as it cannot be built up, but there is starting army there. Now to use all this information to devise a plan. Obviously the main objective is to reach the Titans ASAP, and how to achieve this? Mostly road and a few fights mean a logistics hero is necessary. Preferably Gunner or Kier, or Dessa, as they are specialists, but Modnair and Pyre could work too. Most likely, I'll play whoever of these I get first, and see how it goes. If a specialist is needed, I'll reset for one, given a seed with them even exists, but that's another story. The black market can sell Equestrian's gloves and or boots of speed, costing 7,500 and 15,000 gold respectively, which I maybe can use the chest gold to afford. Every creature in theory can join, so diplomacy is an option, but some might join without it. I remember playing this as a kid, getting the lizardmen to join, so I prepare for that possibility as well. Since no castle hero is a logistics hero, I need to get at least 2,500 gold from the nearby chests to recruit the hero I need. So I either need to reach both of the closest chests, or one of them has to contain 2,000 gold, with gold starting bonus that is. I want as big of an army I can muster, and also don't want to bleed the army unnecessary, so I might have to make a detour to the hill fort on day 1, costing movement, to either Diplo or scare away the Magi and Lizardmen. So it might be worth it to flag the neutral castle town and recruit my main hero there, and use side heroes to collect gold, plus visit the black market, plus possibly visit the refugee camp. I will also have to sacrifice some starting army to take on the North Goblins in order to reach the campfire plus 2 chests. How much army? Well, I'll have to do some trial and error for that. And I think that's everything. Next step is to try to find a suitable seed and see if the plan works. Usually, when playing Castle, I use Tyrus to look for seeds, as she has tactics and will then always move first in combat, which is necessary for predictable seed patterns. Starting heroes don't determine seeds, as far as I know, so you can search for good seeds with one hero, and still go back to the main menu to choose a different starting hero and still find the same seed. The only exception for this, I think, is if your hero is supposed to be in a tavern, which would then obviously mess with the seeds. Starting bonus, I usually choose gold bonus for all, but you can choose other resources as they would not impact seeds in any way, but artifact starting bonus could impact the seed. From my understanding, an artifact cannot be generated on a map or in a black market twice, unless every artifact has been generated. So if one of your starting artifacts is supposed to be somewhere else, this would also mess with the seeds a little bit. So I usually just choose a resource starting bonus, usually gold, just to make things easy for me to remember, and also because I like gold. Let's do some seed searching. So what is a seed? It's basically a generated version of something. In this case, I use seed to describe a generated version of a scenario, or in some cases a fight. What is generated on a scenario? All the random elements on the map. This includes number of creatures in the starting army, number of starting stacks for the creature specialists, starting bonus resource amount or artifact, starting primary and secondary skills if your hero is over level 1, how your secondary skill tree will evolve, resource types and amounts, random creatures and number of creatures, random artifacts, if the level 2 creature dwelling is built in your town, if Shadow of Death, and so on and so forth. Everything which is supposed to be random. Here I'll choose a few random elements to illustrate how it works. Starting army, 20 pikemen and 7 archers. The northern resource pile, which is 5 wood. The northern campfire, 600 gold and 6 wood. The 2 western chests, 1k gold in both. And the artifacts in the black market. If I now reset, all these should be different. Starting army now has fewer pikemen and archers, but includes 3 griffins. The 5 wood pile is 6 mercury. The campfire is 500 gold and 5 wood. The chests are the same amount of gold, surprisingly. And the black market has a desirable artifact, the equestrian's gloves. If I now wanted to play this seed, I would have to find a way to reach it again. If I go back to the main menu and follow the same procedure, aka same starting hero and same starting bonuses, I should be able to reset just once, as I did earlier, to find the same seed. But as you can see, this is not the case. The starting army is different, the resource piles are different, the chests are different, and there are no equestrian's gloves in the black market. Just resetting does not yield predictable results. Therefore, I need to find a way to make seeds predictable. This is where entering a fight comes into play. If I enter a specific fight and ensure I have the first move, I believe as long as the number of actions in the fight is the same, seeds will be predictable. I just find that if the number of actions is 0, that's the easiest to work with. Now I can reset and check all the same random things as earlier. 15 pikemen and 5 archers, 6 gems, 500 gold and 5 ore, Pendant of Life and 2k gold from the chests, no equestrian's gloves in the black market. If I enter the same fight again and reset once, I should now get the same random elements again, the same seed. And as you can see, starting army is the same, resources are the same artifact and gold from the chests, same artifacts in the black market. This works. This is the first seed of what we can call the Lizardman Fight seed string. Different fights will start different strings, and these strings are finite, meaning you can't reset forever and expect different seeds every time. Eventually they start repeating, which is what I meant when I earlier said that maybe seeds with logistics specialists don't exist. I reset twice and check for a couple of important things, like the chest gold values and the black market, finding boots of speed. I then check all the other nearby gold resources to see if they are affordable, which I find out eventually after taking every bit of gold I can get my hands on. They're not, at least if I want to hire more heroes. So I look for another usable seed. Seed number 3 in this string has Equestrian's gloves, so I check for gold again, finding a chest with legs of the Legion. Not optimal. I look for a better seed, resetting 4 times this time. And spoiler alert, this is the usable seed. Gold from the chests is decent. Equestrian's gloves in the black market, which is great. No artifacts from any chests, and a stack of lizardmen who join. This is a very good seed. Now I begin looking for a good way to play the seed. I enter the same lizardman fight, reset 4 times to reach the same seed again. I don't want to use more army than necessary to take on the goblins in the north, so I leave the archers in town and encounter problem number 1. Tyrus can't reach both chests on day 1. Every castle hero starts with creatures with 4 speed, so we need a creative solution. There is one castle hero who increases creature speed, if we don't count Sir Mullock, who's not available on this map, and also don't increase starting movement points. That hero is Valeska. She only starts with archers, and her specialty, which is archers, raises their speed to 5. Going back into the main menu and then choosing Valeska as the starting hero, I can enter the same lizardman fight, reset 4 times, and reach the same seed again, which I check using the same method as earlier. So I can enter the same lizardman fight again, reset 4 times, again, and then see if Valeska is the solution to problem number 1. And you can now also probably see why I don't really want to stream any of these attempts, as it's basically just a lot of resetting. Leaving her archers in town, she reaches both of the chests on day 1. Problem number 1 solved. I use the gold to hire Ingham, take the army, including the 9 recruited archers, and start making his way up to the lizardmen and magi near the second town. But I need to solve the goblin problem first. How few pikemen can I take to beat the goblin boys up? 21 convincingly, so I reload the battle save, remove a few pikemen, and see again. 16 won convincingly, so I repeat the process. Auto loses with 15, so I figure 16 is a good number. But now I have to reset again, as Valeska is dead. Following the same procedure, but leaving with 16 pikemen instead of 20, I now save after Valeska has moved in order to solve a different problem. I need a logistics hero, but that's for a bit later. First, I need to find out if I can scare away the creatures on the road. Using the available army plus the 9 archers, I send Ingham towards the second town. I find out that the lizardmen are not scared off, reload the battle save, and see if the magi are frightened. Which I also find out they are not. So I go back before hiring Ingham and try something different. I swing by the hill fort and upgrade the pikemen and griffins, all I can afford, and try again. First, we can see the lizardmen are now scared away, and the magi as well. Even getting a lossless fight for the neutral town. It's really coming together now. I also have just enough for a third hero, but Shakti is not a logistics hero, so it's time to solve that problem. Now I don't really like this trick, and I've only used it once in holding the middle, but the heroes in queue in quotation marks in the tavern are not always random. Most of the time here, Cal or Marist was behind Ingham, but if I reload before hiring him, the queue hero is random. Which means that previous actions also decide things like tavern heroes behind the starting hireable heroes. A different form of seed manipulation. So I reload many times, and I'll spare you all the reloading. Until I find a logistics hero, Monair, which is the actual main hero I'll use. Coming back to the second town, after leaving the lizardmen alive, for XP for Monair, I recruit him and begin mapping the seed further. Otto smashes the lizardmen with minimal losses, acceptable. And as seen earlier, the second lizardman stack joins. The chests nearby are also taken in order to afford another hero, Hallen, who even brings more army and meets up with Monair in order for him to make fast with the Royal Griffins for the next day. So I begin mapping out the next few days. Valeska's job from now on is basically just to gather resources, so she picks up the nearby campfire and the 2 chests for a nice gold influx. Ingham gets more gold from another campfire, which Hallen does as well, before Ingham pays a visit to the black market and buys the Equestrian's gloves, then meets up with Hallen to trade the artifact over, which then Hallen can transfer over to Monair. And from here on out, I do the same processes of resetting to optimize every fight, movement optimization, XP optimization, and so on. So instead of showing every single decision I make, which would take ages, making this video several hours long probably, let's just see how the full run looks. Castle and Valeska, check. Gold bonus for all, double check. It's time to infiltrate the hive. Remember to like, comment and subscribe, or even become a channel member. I upgrade the starting archers at the hill fort for no reason and then find my way to the nearby lizardmen. After entering the fight on day 2, I reset 4 times and then the real fun begins. I leave all the 14 starting archers in town and bring 16 of the 20 pikemen along with me to the first chest, getting 1k gold, and then 2k from the second chest. This gives me enough to hire a second hero, Ingham, but there is no logistics hero behind him, so I use the reloading trick outlined earlier to eventually find Monair. Afterwards, I take all of the town army plus the 9 available archers and head down to the nearby hill fort to upgrade the pikemen and griffins, as that's all I can afford. The next day, Valeska finds the goblin fight, letting Otto do the dirty work. This gives her access to 1 chest this day for another 1500 gold. Ingham, meanwhile, elegantly avoids the lizardman fight and instead scatters the magi, not pursuing them. The neutral castle town is next, which is a fight Otto steamrolls. Inside, I can then hire Monair, who rides out to meet Ingham, swapping armies, before Monair takes on the lizardman for some XP. Otto's results are more than good enough, so I accept and cash in on the 350 XP. While heading northwest towards the hive, Monair snags 1100 gold plus some useless resources from 2 campfires, and also convinced the 20 lizardmen to join our noble anti-monarchy cause. He even has the movement to get both of the nearby chests, getting 1500 gold from one and 1500 XP from the other, leveling into advanced offense. Not logistics, which is a bit unlucky. But I have enough gold for another hero, Hallen, who recruits the single archer he can afford, meets up with Monair to take his army, except 2 royal griffins for movement point optimization, and after using the remaining Ingham movement, I can finally end day 2. On day 3, Valeska vacuums all the gold from the northern starting area, Hallen finds a chest for another plus 1k, and rides back on the road. And Ingham can spend it all on the black market for a smooth pair of Equestrian's gloves. The Equestrian baton is passed to Hallen first, also transferring the army to Ingham, before the gloves are finally given to Monair, who uses his iron-lunged horse to ride an enormous distance, taking a breather with a small amount of movement left next to the second hill fort. Hallen follows as far as he can, and Ingham does the same, before Valeska is already retired. Day 4, Hallen gets his army back from Ingham, before he finds his way to the hill fort next to Monair, upgrading everything, and can just barely reach Monair afterwards. Monair gets everything but his upgraded starting pixie, which is a bit funny to me for some reason, and continues northwest. Before taking on the Magi on the road, I shuffle the army around a little bit. From here until after the Hydra fight, I only need a single Royal Griffin to survive it all. So when I see Otto only losing 1 Griffin plus some useless side army, I can safely accept. This levels Monair up to advanced logistics, which is great. And he can take on the second Magi roadblock. This loses me another Griffin, but I still have one, so it's no big deal and I can again safely but reluctantly accept. Continuing forward, ignoring the castle village, Monair ends his day with a sliver of movement left, a few tiles away from a pink hero. Ingham, on the other hand, finds a campfire and visits the refugee camp, finding Naga Queens. I can only afford one, and I recruit it just because I mentioned it in the planning phase, it's definitely not needed, and head back on the road. Valeska is still retired. Pink pisses off, and Ingham can trade his queen over to Hallen, who can use his army to take the neutral castle village. It's a bit of a shame to get the Naga Queen, as I didn't get to showcase Hallen's magic capabilities here. I can win this fight with just one sprite and 3 ice bolts. Oh well. In this town, I can hire Adelaide, recruit the available upgraded army, swap armies between the 2 visiting heroes, and send Adelaide to Monair for some reinforcing business. With this now powerful army, Monair can make a beeline towards the bridge troll cosplaying Hydrus. A very slow beeline, but a beeline still, even seeing where the cowardly pink hero went. Pathetic. Adelaide is then dismissed, and we can already end day 5. The next day, I prepare to take on the Hydrus. A difficult but doable fight, so this is gonna be a rough one. But Otto just smashes it, as there are only 5 Hydrus there. The minimum, I'm pretty sure. Lucky. So, I decide to see how we did it. This result is actually the Naga Queen's fault, in quotation marks. Without it tanking several hits from the top 2 Hydra stacks, Otto usually loses this fight, incredibly enough. It actually isn't that difficult with a bit of baiting and kiting away from my ranged stacks. But I was still surprised to see Otto do this, even having a bunch of army left over afterwards. Monair gets expert logistics, and I have to manually dismiss 4 different stacks. What a slog. We say goodbye to the marksmen, lizard warriors, and halberdiers. A single royal griffin left. Scary stuff. Following the road, I can almost reach my day 7 destination. Am I stupid? Taking on the titans with a single griffin? Well, they always join, so it's a free massive army power boost. 8 of them. And I can now get rid of the royal griffin and set my GPS to the hive. Taking a little shortcut by the cracks in the ground to save some movement, passing the Forsaken Palace, I still have quite a bit of distance to cover until we find Pink. Thankfully, there is a lot of road leading up there, and that, plus expert logistics, plus max starting movement from the Titan speed, we reach the hive, which is guarded by Sanya. I let her do her pathetic turn before the Titans zappy zap zap her 2 weak stacks. Easy peasy. Next up, the Queen. A manual finish is in order, I think, so I wait on turn 1, letting her forces move out, before erasing their Freety and familiars. We are at an evisceration party, and everyone's invited. I only need a few more turns to absolutely blow most of the Queen out of the lava with some heat-seeking lightning zaps. Except for the Gogs, who I decide to humiliate with some melee tightening, just walking up and letting them hit themselves. A glorious victory. A couple of level ups later and we are victorious, in a mere 8 days. Not bad. 396 score and Black Dragon rank is not up to our usual standards, but it's okay I guess. I hope this was a helpful video and that I somewhat coherently managed to explain my thoughts and processes, and that my understanding of seeds is reasonably clear. I don't have a complete understanding and don't exactly know how to dig for more info, but it is what it is. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed watching. If you did, I would really appreciate a like, comment and a subscription. Channel members get early access to my videos, usually 2 to 3 days before normal release. I hope to see you next time, and that you have a might and magically good day. Bye bye. And as always, a huge thank you to all my channel members, but an extra special shout out to my Ballista members, Escubani, Van Lunis, Lika, Kat, CJ, Nora, and Turskinator. I appreciate you all so much.